In Chapter 7, we see the party of Jefferson and Madison settling into power and trying to run the government according to their Republican principles. The three things you need to keep an eye out on in Chapter 7 is number 1, Jefferson as president and his definition of the roles of limited government. Number 2, rearranging of party lines and the end of the Federalists. And then number 3, the expansion of the American Republic and the implication for slaves and natives.
We're at the Lewis and Clark State Historic Site outside of Hartford, Illinois.
Hi folks. Today I'm standing at the most important point in central North America during the early national period. Behind me on my right is the mouth of the Missouri River. On my left is the Mississippi River. This point represented the controlling area for everything west of the Appalachian Mountains. Control the riverways, control the land. This is also the point from which Lewis and Clark departed on their exploration of the western United States to find out just exactly what the U.S. had bought from France in 1804. President Jefferson understood that with the purchase of the Louisiana Territory and the Missouri rivers and Mississippi rivers that were included in all that, the Americans now controlled the center portion of the country. What he didn't know was all that was included in that. So Jefferson commissioned an exploration to the west to discover what the Americans had. And for this, he sent two of his own personal friends, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. William Clark's actually the younger brother of George Rogers Clark, who we've already talked about. These men were to take an expedition to the west, up the Missouri River, and discover what all was included in this new purchase. They began this exploration near what is the current city of Wood River. They built a fort and for months trained a group of men to take along with them. In the fort, they accumulated their supplies, they prepared for what they thought would be every eventuality, and got themselves ready, including building boats and picking up native guides to prepare for the journey to the west that would let them know what the Americans now had to deal with in terms of their new territory. Now obviously, the easiest way to travel through this territory is going to be by boat. So one of the primary tasks that Lewis and Clark accomplished in fort is to build 3 boats. This keel boat that you see pictured here is the big one, and it's going to hold all the goods that they need for what they assume will be a trip of at least a year. As they go, Jefferson has ordered them to survey the land and to keep a record of everything they find, including plants, animals, dinosaurs if they can find them. That's an interesting side story. But to bring back all of this knowledge to him later on. This trip is going to take them all the way to the Pacific coast, and Jefferson wants to know as much about this new territory as he can. Ultimately, the trip took over 2 years, covered more than 4,000 miles, and surveyed a territory that would ultimately be at least 15 different states. And it all began right here in Illinois. So long from the Lewis and Clark State Historical Site in Hartford, Illinois. I'll see you.